ebusuan for kwesi part akọ ababe abasabe bi na akoye any present any arrow sempa e de ama yen sisi an nani abre wa go raw e de etia chairman Wontumi e won 50 million Ghana cedis frozen account no na ebusuan for make aka ne say ni akoye any present pa Mr. Safi no abedwuma TV so like share subscribe to the channel no say we are political trending news we are baby Ghana politics avenue so adependent so the problem na bedrefo the team for option for and you call political highway so instead be and as senior na make and so akwakusi no attorney general mo entake a bold decision oral team na enko mind no mo hu de omo ye cause Eximbank no old chairman Wontumi what they can on person ubetria but yes still you have 50 million Ghana cedis at our account. What do you mean? What are you trying to tell Ghanaians? All because and not just a party our power into an assassin. This is the other day we part any abri about West PD or chairman Wontumi oral team so and attorney general say they should work harder because you know there is a proof say or the car. I didn't know this account way unless it's carry an account. Mumu yanko na inkutie in some course or
which is how much you're spending rather than what did you use the money for.
I think what gains did we make?
What did we gain? What gains did we make?
You know, I mean,
celebrating independence.
In a country where for a very long time we stopped teaching history as a standalone subject in our secondary schools. What's the point of celebrating national independence?
That's interesting.
In a country where we deliberately, our planners, our policymakers deliberately decided that history should not be taught as a standalone subject. So what then is the value of national independence? You see, so I want us to have a holistic approach to these celebrations, to define clearly what objectives we want to achieve with these celebrations, and to do that rather than to be counting, coins.
Okay, all right. Now I want us to look at.
Boss, do you disagree with me?
No, not at all.
So you also agree that the amount of money we spend is not really the issue, but what did we gain?
No, whatever money we spend,
yes,
ought to be reasonable.
Reasonable,
of course. Okay.
Okay.
But it ought to be weighed against the achievements. It ought to be weighed against our objectives and so on. It ought to be, rather than how many business people made money on the day and so on. Really, what is that about?
All right. So, gentlemen, there's what appears to be a bombshell, which was thrown at us yesterday in Parliament, and I don't know whether the videos are ready. Bright, if the videos are ready, please cue them because we may need them. Now, if you look at all the papers today, it's on their front pages, and it has to do with an audit report which was commissioned by the government of the day, Finance Ministry specifically, by the Auditor General, and I'm told that with the support from PricewaterhouseCoopers, and then the IMF itself, and some very, very troubling, very worrying, and also very, very sad findings. And Daily Graphic this morning says, Audit spots 21 billion cedis fraud on state coffers, and the government targets corporates for prosecution. That's what the Daily Graphic is telling us today. Now, Kester Abram-Kranche of the Daily Graphic is reporting that there's a special audit into Ghana's unpaid debts, and that has uncovered 21.35 billion cedis suspicious, duplicated, and fictitious claims on state coffers, compelling a government pledge to prosecute all individuals involved in what it terms a systemic plunder of the public purse. The amount is made up of 8.1 billion cedis outright rejection. Okay, 8.1 billion cedis outright rejection. And then 13.26 billion cedis that must be justified before payments can be made. Now, we're told that the disallowed amounts were part of some 68. So entire amount which the Auditor General looked into, it's 68.7 billion cedis, which was submitted to the Ministry of Finance as unpaid interim payment certificates, what we call IPCs. Now, the invoices and then the bank transfer advices BTAs owed to contractors and suppliers. The government in July last year taxed the Ghana Audit Service, working in partnership with EY and PwC. So EY is Ernst & Young, and PwC, that's PricewaterhouseCoopers, to verify and validate some 68.7 billion cedis submitted to the Ministry of Finance in unpaid interim payment certificates, IPCs, invoices and bank transfer advices, which is BTAs owed to contractors and suppliers. Now, the outstanding IPCs and invoices amounted to some 50.5 billion cedis, and while outstanding bank BTAs amounted to some 18.3 billion cedis. Presenting the findings of the Auditor General's reports on arrears and payables as of the end of 2024 to Parliament yesterday, the Deputy Finance Minister, Thomas Nyakwampim, revealed that out of the 68.7 billion cedis in claims submitted for verification, only 45.4 billion cedis was deemed valid for payment. The rest, which is the 8.1 billion, was outrightly rejected due to a litany of irregularities, including unsupported documentations, duplications, overstatement, and claims for work never done. Now, a further 13.3 billion cedis is still under scrutiny pending the provision of adequate documentation. Now, delivering the statement on behalf of the Minister of Finance, Dr. Kasela Tufosi, Mr. Nyakwampim, told the House that the findings painted a picture of the rotten system designed to fleece the people of Ghana. Now, this report exposes the systemic plunder and abuse of the public financial management system, Mr. Nyakwampim stated. By the time I am done, it will become clear that something needed to be done to save our economy. Now, among the most alarming discoveries was a fictitious debt of 89.4 million cedis under the Ministry of Trade and Industry. Now, according to the audit, the ministry submitted a request to settle interest payments under the One District, One Factory, One D, One F initiative with 5 commercial banks. However, when auditors contacted the banks, every single one confirmed they were owed nothing. The banks are saying they were owed nothing by the government under the arrangement. Without the audit intervention, a whopping 89.4 million cedis of hard-earned public money could have been disbursed to settle this non-existing liability, Mr. Nyakwampim tells Parliament. The report further detailed another case where payment of 10.5 billion cedis was recorded as having been made into a non-existent that's a buffer account at a commercial bank with the account number cited not confirming to the bank's format. In the light of the findings, Mr. Nyakwampim announced the entire 1D, 1F scheme would be subjected to a forensic audit. The audit also uncovered significant discrepancies in the distribution of relief supplies by the Ministry of Food and Agriculture during the 2024 dry spell. The government paid 34,000 tons of rice to address the impact of the dry spell, but the ministry received and distributed only 24,000 tons. How? Okay. The remaining 10,000 tons, fully paid for, remained unaccounted for, according to the audit. Okay. In a separate transaction, Ministry of Food and Agriculture submitted stores receipt advice claiming delivery of 100,000 tons of maize worth 771.2 million cedis. However, the audit revealed that only 11,900 tons were actually supplied and distributed. Okay. Further compounding the issues at MOFA, let me just use MOFA for now, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. A transportation company contracted under the Farmer Food Relief Program was paid 61.7 million cedis for transporting 35,000 tons of grains, despite the contract sum for the volume being 30.9 million. Ghana. The company was also given 7,311 tons of rice in lieu of cash for no work done, according to the Deputy Finance Minister. And I'll end with this. As a result, he said the Auditor General rejected an additional 65.2 million the ministry sought to pay the company. And I can go on and on and on and on and on. But perhaps I have said enough to trigger a conversation that I believe is extremely important, because you see, it's about the public kitty. It's about our taxes. And if they are not used properly, we ought to call people out for doing the wrong things. But more importantly, I think that the Auditor General's report, these things keep coming up all the time. Something is definitely wrong. I mean, we have a systemic problem, reporting, accounting. What's happening with gift mix? The Ghana Integrated Management Information System, what's happening to it? I mean, why do we keep recording these things? I know, yeah, the human element is strong, but then we need to deal with it. If people are prosecuted and people are jailed, I'm sure that when you are stealing or you have any intentions of fleecing the state, you'll think twice. But that's not for me. I'm a moderator. Let me bring my guest in. Collins, I mean, you're a Ghanaian first before a member of of a political party. That's the New Patriotic Party. How do you feel when we keep bringing some of these things to the fore? I mean, 8.1 billion cedis is what we would have paid somebody for doing nothing.
So, yesterday,
or some people for doing nothing.
Yesterday, right after the voting proceedings and all that, the Speaker announced that the Minister for Finance, who was represented by the Deputy Minister, would like to make a statement. So our leadership raised concern, because normally such statements would have been discussed at conclave. So they raised the issue that this was not discussed at conclave, and that if it was discussed, at least we would have had an opportunity from our side to have a copy of the document.
Oh, which is in line with the long existing practice?
Practice.
Okay.
So normally at conclave, you inform them that we intend to make a statement of this nature because of, as you pointed at, bombshell.
Yeah.
So it is just, especially when the audit is, the period is within when we were in government. It's just fair that at least you give them heads up so that they also prepare with a response, at least, I mean, preliminary response.
For our viewers who do not understand or do not appreciate parliamentary practice and parliamentary work, when we say conclave, what is that?
Conclave is where leadership with Speaker meets before they come to the plenary.
Right.
And that is where normally they agree on some few things so that nobody's surprised on the floor, basically. So leadership raised that concern that we were not briefed about this. So it would have been important that we are giving some heads up so we prepare. But I think the Speaker overruled the objection. And then Mr. Ampim made a statement.
But prior to that, sorry, before you talk about Ampim's statement, prior to that, did you pick up any intel?
No, we didn't.
At all?
At all.
That the audit was ready, the findings of the audit report was ready, and Parliament and the Finance Ministry was going to present that to Ghanaians?
At all.
Really?
Yes. Okay. Now, what was presented was a statement.
Yeah.
This statement.
Yeah.
It was after the statement, then Mr. Ampim then laid, or as it were, presented to Parliament, the audit report. So as I sit here, the audit report, which will include management, conversations, the individuals involved. I'm sure you cannot do an audit and bring a report without engaging the individuals involved.
True.
All those individual engagements that necessitated this statement had not been made available to us. It was on the floor that Ampim laid just a copy. And then one other copy was given on the same floor, given to the leadership, Mr. Fenyo Market. As I sit here now, I don't have a copy of the full report. So the debate on the floor or the comment on the statement was based on what Mr. Ampim, the statement that he gave, which did not include the names of the companies, the individuals involved, nothing.
And even their response to why
nothing.
Had happened?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay.
So it is this. Now, ordinarily, if you read a statement like this, and he says that they received requests for payment of billions of cedis, and that for this audit, this money should have been paid. Every Ghanaian, every normal Ghanaian will be appalled. So, why? Who would have done this? But interestingly, as I said, he failed to mention names and companies. And if you read the report, you hear a transport company was engaged to transport this. The transport company transported only this amount, but was paid this amount. What it means is that the government is aware and knows the company involved.
Yes.
Let's make this a very simple matter.
Yeah, but reputations are at stake.
You are not getting my point.
No, I know. You want the companies to be mentioned.
You're not getting my point. No, but the companies we mentioned in the report, in the main report,
Yes.
obviously.
Of which you and I don't have a copy.
We don't have a copy now.
Yes, what you have is an abridged version.
But that's the point I'm making. So the intent of this statement is to create a certain mindset.
Okay.
And to create a certain story. Because this one, all you said was that bombshell.
Yes.
We don't know what went on, the engagement with the company involved. But you are saying bombshell. In fact, in the statement, some part, they virtually conclude that some stealing has gone on. I've not seen the documents. I've not seen the report. I've not seen the interactions. You see, even the comments after the statement, it was clear that nobody is against audit reports. In fact, I am so excited that this is happening. Because for me, this should not repeat itself. If indeed what they are telling us is the truth. I have cited a 2017 same audit report when NPP came to power. They said, oh, we are going to audit all the certificates that have been brought to us. You'll be surprised the amount of money they were mentioning in 2017. How come we are having the same problem when the government is leaving power? So even the statement itself acknowledges that the system itself has a problem. I am all for any
systemic plan.
I am all for any processes to clean the system. We are talking about duplication of invoices. How come the giftmas system is unable to identify that the first invoice that was entered and paid for, the same giftmas system has accommodated another entry of the same invoice with the same details? But for this audit, it will have been paid. So if the focus is how to stop the system or clean the system, I'm all for it. But as we said, we are politicians. The word bombshell within a certain period creates a certain impression that something untoward had happened and that people must go to jail. Listen, my brother, I'm telling you today, anybody who's involved in this, whether it's my government person or not, prosecute the person. If indeed what we are reading here is the truth and that there are people at the ministry inputting data, duplicating invoices, what should be done? They should not just be releasing statement to us. I was expecting the statement to say, Mr. So and so has been arrested, is being investigated, has gone to here. That's what I want to hear.
But the government says they will prosecute them.
Okay, I don't have a problem. I'm happy. They should continue to prosecute. I don't want it to be like the things we hear all the time. We escalate, then still we don't hear anything. I don't want it to be that way. I want to see action taken on this, if indeed what they are telling us from this statement is the truth. Are you getting the point?
Do you have any basis to doubt the authenticity the validity of what government is telling us?
I'm saying that this was sprung on us. You don't have a problem.
Right, that's fine.
Yes. I mean, if the minister came to Parliament, made a statement. If you read some of the things the minister has said in the statement, it's troubling. Every Ghanaian should be worried. If you see that you've paid, go and transport 50,000. You've only transported 20,000 metric tons. But I've paid you for the 50,000. That's a worry.
Yeah.
But what it means is that the company is known. The owners of the company are known. So let's go after those owners of the company and ask them. And I'm sure the main audit report will inculcate their responses. Why they have not conveyed the 50,000 but have been paid for 50,000.
Right.
You get the point I'm making. What reasons did they give? That I don't know, because this statement did not give us.
But do you think that matters? Is that important? What reasons they gave?
It is.
Why?
It is because they should tell. I'm sure the auditors called them.
Because I'm sure that before the government or the auditors concluded that something untoward had happened, they had read the responses from whoever.
You and I don't have those responses.
No, I get it.
Yes, but I'm saying that
before they arrive at those conclusions, they would have read the responses from whoever was being audited.
Yes.
Before arriving at a setting.
So what is the next step?
So the next step is a prosecution.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
There shouldn't be any playing around it.
All right.
If indeed what they are telling us.
That's a fair point.
From what I'm reading, transfers.
Yes.
You give transfers to a ministry will say invoice, go and pay this amount. They go, they check. There's nothing like that. That is a problem.
Okay.
It is.
All right. Uncle Z.
Can I have the
You want the
Daily
paper?
Graphic?
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Here we go.
Well, first of all, my brother Collins, you see, any report, factual, inaccurate, whatever, which says that the people of Ghana have lost.
Ana dwumadi no ma me kwan se memfa obi bia ensi mesre mo se high Ghana politics abeno mo so mfuguru eba politics dia obi ni ndi che obi ntime nso mfa ne ho entoto ye yekọ ene de yeba nyina ya Japan se de bebremo ya bedwefo ene yetifo like dwumadi we share ma onwanu mo namfo obusuafo bia nso sa ntime enka dwumadi ya yedi e Ghana politics abeno so na dan ye no na Japan say a political trend in news the air connect eba and the Bible sumo and embre emam kwan say me for OBNC so one some kayen bi so na say on tias na pesa on share with my trash comment section so ne Ghana politics avenue at the Japan na edwuma ko no ya gada na say dia won tias bi an so ya Japan ne ya Jebre ne ya church o say and am the musi makro bibia